here to do my May wrap up. So because I've changed like how I'm doing things, mostly because of May, I've already talked about all of these books, except for my DNF, which I'm going to talk about first. So I am going to attempt to link below I'm going to try to, you can link at a certain time. So when I'm talking about it, just in case one of these books catches your eye and you haven't seen those videos, then you can click on it and go watch the video where I talk about them. Today I'm mostly going to do like statistics kind of thing, talk about my DNF. I'm going to rate the books that I read like from favorite to worst, or no, from worst to favorite, and then like try to sell you on my two favorites maybe. And then talk about like movies and like my numbers and stuff like that. Okay, so just FYI, because I have already talked about, again, almost all of these books. So I did want to start off with my like book balance sheet kind of thing. I did really good. So I ended up, my goal was to read my goal was to read a book a day in the month of May. That rhymed. Great. I fell short of that. I read 23 books, and as you're going to see, a lot of them are super, super teeny, but I don't care because I read over 2,400 pages in the month of May, which is way more than I typically read. I feel like on an average month, I read like between 1,500 and 1,800 pages. So I'm like super pumped. If I could keep it above 2,000 the rest of the year, I did not in June. A spoiler alert, but if I could keep it above 2,000, like I would be ecstatic. But yeah, I'm just so happy that I was able to read that much. I ended up straight up DNFing one book that I was like 2/3 of the way through, and I unhauled a bunch of stuff. I forgot that I unhauled things, but when I was looking at I kind of keep track. I have my like TBR sheet, and I keep track of the books that I've read, the books that I've bought, and then my unhauls or DNFs are over here. Sorry, this is probably really hard to read because it's orange, but yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, I did get rid of a bunch of stuff. Obviously, I don't remember and don't care about those books. So my like balance ended up being that I removed 31 books from my shelves, and I removed 5,350 pages from my shelves, which is very exciting because I messed up last month. So I'm glad that in June, at least in May, I was really, really good. And I also hit my Goodreads reading challenge in May, which is exciting. So I just make it 52 books because that's basic and easy. So I hit that goal. With regards to like my challenges and stuff, I've already like kind of done my stuff for June because June already finished. But I think I'm okay. I need to like reevaluate where I'm at. And probably in the fall, I'm gonna have to like make sure that my TBR is more tailored to filling those challenges if I'm able to, because I don't want to like stress myself out in December. I want to be like read books that I haven't finished yet a month basically. So I'm hopefully in the fall I'll be able to like tailor more my TBR to like fit those specific challenges. Some of them are like going to be really hard for me though. Excuse me. But I'm just going to use the library if I think I'm not going to like the book. So, because I want to at least try. So let's talk about the book. So I'm going to start with my DNF, which was The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. If you watch my vlogs, you know that I hated this book. I just didn't like it at all. It starts off with, I think I got this from Marty too, which makes sense why she's getting rid of it. So it starts off with, my name was Salmon, like the fish, first name Susie. I was 14 when I was murdered on December 6th, 1973. So that's how the book starts. This book is super popular, so I'm sure you know the plot, but basically she's like in heaven or something, and she's watching her family kind of deal with the aftermath of her death. This was really difficult for me to read. I do read things that are extremely messed up. I have a book that has necrophilia in it, and it was a really funny book. So I don't, like, I just want to, like, I'm not upset with, like, tough subjects don't upset me. I have a very, very high bar of, like, what I can take. But something about this just really, like, I just didn't like it. Like, the family relationship, maybe that's why, like, it really hurt watching her family fall apart, and it didn't feel good. Like, there's nothing about this that felt good to me. It felt really strange that she was, like, watching them from heaven or whatever, and I don't know. Just the whole thing made me really uncomfortable, especially, like, the parents' relationship. I just, like, could not get on with that. Like, the parents' relationship, the parents like how their relationship progresses in the book, I just found like really upsetting. And then I was, because I use my Book Out app, so I know how long it's going to take me to finish a book. And I got to a certain point, like I guess about here, where I was like, I just don't understand why I'm forcing myself to read this book if I don't like it. Maybe I'll just watch the movie instead. But I had less time left to read than the movie would have taken, if that makes sense. So I decided to go on Wikipedia and just read the rest of the plot, because I was curious if they were going to like catch the murder or whatever. And yeah, I'm glad that I didn't finish this book, because something extremely stupid and very upsetting happens later in the book that I did not get to. And like, my eyes would have been rolling like in the back of my head if I had read that. So I don't want to ever have to deal with that book again. So the rest of these are books that I read and completed roughly in order of enjoyment. It's kind of hard because they're 23, and I liked a lot of them. I liked basically all of them. Well, I was okay on some of them. So the one that I did not like was On Murder Considered as One of the Fine Arts by Thomas De Quincey, and this is like an essay about murder considered one of the fine arts. The Little Book of Sloth Philosophy, How to Live Your Best Sloth Life by Jennifer McCartney. And again, this is like a little gift book on meditativeness, kind of. And I will link the videos where I talk about them below. The next one is Weird Things Customers Say in Bookstores by Jane Campbell. I didn't think it was that funny. And then I have Mrs. Fox by Sarah Hall. I think I liked this. I just don't really remember anything about it. So I felt like it didn't deserve a higher place in my ranking. And then I read Dante and the Lobster by Samuel Beckett. This one was an absolute riot. So we're kind of getting into the ones that I think are funny or good, I guess. But this was an absolute riot. I just, again, don't remember a ton of it. And then I have More Souls Than One by Fernando Pessoa. And this is translated by Jonathan Griffin. And this is just like a case of me not getting the poetry. A second case of me not getting the poetry, The Girl Aquarium by Jen Campbell, which was gifted to me by the lovely Doris. And then Stay Out of the Basement, which is Goosebumps number 2 by R.L. Stine. This was a fun, dumb read, as all of them are. I really like them. And then The Saga of Gunlog Serpent Tongue. This was like an epic saga type book, translated by Katrina C. Atwood, that I also found to be absolutely hilarious. Then The Survivor by Primo Levi. This is more poetry, translated by Jonathan Galassi. This one was really, really powerful. Like, I really, really liked this. Then 3 Types of Solitude, which is 3 short stories, and they're all about, solitude. Oh my gosh, the cats are losing their minds. I also really enjoyed this. Obviously, I'm going to stop saying that because the rest of these I really, really liked. Okay. The Garden of Working Paths by Jorge Luis Borges, and this is translated by Donald A. Yates, Andrew Hurley, and James E. Irby. And this is, most of these are in ficciones, so I'm going to try to get that and read that soon. Then 3 Japanese short stories by Akutagawa and others, and this is translated by Jay Rubin, and these stories are from the Penguin book of Japanese short stories, which might be out already. I'm not sure, but also definitely want that. Then Cosmopolitan by Akhil Sharma. I told you, a lot of these are so tiny. And poetry. Don't Call Us Dead by Danez Smith. I prefer his first collection, so you guys should go read that. Insert Boy is the name of it. Then Little Boxes, 12 Writers on Television. This is essay anthology about TV shows. Embroideries by Marjane Satrapi. This must be translated because she is French speaker. I think it's Anjali Singh. That's the translation copyright, but there's no like specific translated by, which is very frustrating. But this is like I don't know if it's a graphic memoir. It says memoir on the back, like of one night of like all these women talking, and it's spectacular. Then Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Wei-Jun Wong. Also, I feel like May was the month of memoir. Memoir, essay, and poetry is what I feel like I read a ton of. Then Monstrous Volumes 2 and 3. I love this so much. This was so good. I can't wait for Volume 4. Then Kurt Vonnegut, A Man Without a Country. So good. I just can't get over how good this book is. And then my favorite book of the month was Heavy by Keith Lehman. I still don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Lehman? And there's like even, I feel like a part of this book where like he's in school or something and they're trying to pronounce his name and like they're not pronouncing it right. So I feel even extra dumb because of that. But anyways, this was so powerful, so good. I'm hoping in the future, right now I'm like not super financially like, great, like not like super, but I used to do like giveaways for my favorite book of the month, and I feel like I want to start doing that again. I cannot do that this right now, but I'm hoping like before the end of the year, because I think it's fun to share my favorite books with you people, because I like you guys a lot and appreciate y'all, and I want to share my favorite books with people. So, I'm reiterate, not doing that right now, but maybe in the future I will. So this is just a wonderful memoir about being a human, specifically a Black man, and it was heavy. It was really heavy. It was so good. So I'll link me talking about it down below. Again, I read that like at the beginning of the month, so I will leave my videos where I talk about these books down below. I did want to talk about the movies that I watched too. I only watched 3 movies in the month of May. The first one was Marat Sade, which was so crazy. Also, I will link trailers for these movies down below too. I would suggest looking at a trailer for this one, Marat Sade, but it's basically a tale of when the Marquis de Sade is doing his, he was institutionalized or put like in an insane asylum or something like that, because of his writings, I assume. And so he's like kind of putting on a play, of when Marat was assassinated or when someone tried to assassinate. I don't remember like the exact like specifics. But it's basically a bunch of people that are supposed to be like in an insane asylum putting on a play for like a bunch of rich, fancy people. So it is a wild, there is a lot of talking in it. I need to rewatch it because there's a lot of talking in it. And also I have never read the Marquis de Sade and I don't know anything about Marat. So I think I'm going to like investigate those 2 humans a little bit more and then maybe go back and rewatch it. So like contextually, I think it will be more interesting. But without knowing anything about them, I thought it was super weird. There's a lot of dialogue. It's basically an extremely, extremely, extremely dialogue-heavy movie. It's just people in a room talking and singing. But it was so weird and so funny. The next movie that I watched was The Girl in the Photographs, which was total garbage. I think I watched this on a whim because Jake wasn't home, and I was like, I feel like watching a crummy horror movie. Yeah, it was really bad. I do not recommend. It has Kumar from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and he plays a total dick. And I just, in general, it's so stupid. But I'll link the trailer below in case you're wondering. I personally am always curious when people don't like things, what they're about. And then the last movie that I watched the month of May, oh my gosh, my face is running. I'm sorry, allergies, was Blues Brothers 2000. This was basically a repeat of the first movie, like almost identical. It has a lot of the same bad guys, a lot of the same like major things happen. So it was kind of boring. However, Erykah Badu is in it. And Erykah Badu is Erykah Badu. So, that was worth it. The whole thing was worth it because of her. There is like a weird magical element though of the movie, which is like kind of weird. But I guess there kind of is in. Is there in the first one? I don't remember, but there's like some magic-y type things in the movie which like threw me for like I was like, what? That's weird. So yeah, those are the movies I watched. I also want to recommend a podcast. My friend Samantha Kelly does a podcast called Highly Political with her friend Tiana. Sorry, it took me a second because I only met her once. So I think they came into town in May. So I listened to most of the episodes in May, and I think they just came out with a new one, so I need to go listen. But basically, they get high and talk about politics. So I know that's like not everyone's bag, but they're both really, really intelligent and have like guests on and ask them questions. And I love it. It's so, I mean, I guess I'm biased because I really like Sam, and now I really like Tiana too. But I think it's like really interesting, and it's nice to hear like women's voices, I guess, especially like young women talking about this kind of stuff, because I feel like our voices are not always like super well heard, and are silenced a little bit and kind of like diminished because of the fact that we're young women. So it's nice having them talk about things and showing that you don't have to be like a 60-year-old man to get politics. So I really appreciate it and really like it, and I hope you will give it a chance. They're not like talking like Cheech and Chong or anything. I feel like when you think about getting high, like those are like the people that come first. They basically just like mention what they're smoking, I think, and then just talk about politics. So, and maybe there's some giggles because of it. But anyway, so yeah, I will link that below. So hopefully you give that a chance with your ear holes. Thanks for watching my video. I will talk to you guys soon, hopefully with a June wrap up in a timely fashion.